All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Workforce Wednesday. My name is Clarissa Tejeda, and I'm the Associate Director of Career Services here at the Mays Center. I'm really excited for this special edition of Workforce Wednesday. We are actually celebrating the first generation college student this week, which so many of our Jaguars, again, are really proud of that accomplishment. It's a wonderful thing to want to recognize. So because of that, we get to also welcome a pretty special guest from H.E.B, who is Jeremy Garcia. Jeremy is part of the A&M family. He is an Aggie. We will not hold that against you, Jeremy. Okay. You're honorary member of our Jaguar family today.
I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. Thank you.
Yeah. Jeremy actually serves as the campus recruiter at H.E.B. So we're going to get to hear more about his story and what his path looked like. And then we'll also be opening up for questions from our attendees, not only on Facebook, but also here in the Zoom session. Now, a couple of housekeeping reminders. We will be using the chat box feature just to kind of make sure background noise isn't going to be a factor for us. So make sure if you do have questions throughout the session, go ahead and type that right into the chat. Also make sure again to have those mics muted, and that's just making sure that we can hear whoever is speaking really clearly. And then a reminder, we are recording this session. Not only will it be recorded on our Facebook page, which is at Tamusa Mays, but it's also going to be on our YouTube channel, and it'll be a part of our Workforce Wednesday library. Just so you know, Workforce Wednesday is actually an intentional conversation in which we highlight different professionals from different industries, and we get to hear, hey, so how did you get started in your industry? What advice did you have maybe for that undergrad time? And really just kind of maybe peeking behind that curtain a little bit in regard to workforce. So again, really excited for a wonderful conversation that we're going to be having today. So let me go ahead and turn off that. All right. So Jeremy, let's go ahead and get started. I would love to know a little bit more about your educational and your professional background, please.
Definitely. I'll kind of take you back to high school, just because there's a little caveat in there. So I grew up on the west side of San Antonio native. Ended up going to Business Careers High School, which is on the Holmes campus. I knew kind of early on, I loved the money, I loved dealing with business, but I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do. And so those were really specialized. It was a specialized program to kind of help me kind of get into the business field. Went into the Academy of Finance there. So I took advanced accounting courses, realized that at one point I wanted to be a certified public accountant. Then I got through advanced accounting courses and I was like, okay, this is not what I wanted to do. So when I went to my junior year, the staff was amazing. Our teachers and staff were amazing because they really were prepping us early on for interview skills, for resume writing. So when I went through some of those courses, junior year, they prepped me for a program through CPS Energy. It was the CPS Energy SAFE program, which is a program that allows students as early as junior year of high school to serve a 2-year internship opportunity and also be awarded a $5,000 scholarship. So I competed against many, many students throughout San Antonio, and they had fields of IT, accounting, finance, engineering, and HR. I looked through all of them and I started crossing the list. Okay, what do I really want to do? Engineering? No. Accounting? No. I came across human resources. I never knew what human resources was at that point. And funny as it sounds, I was probably the overachiever in high school. Went to the book of majors. I know that the book is like this thick, full of majors. And I looked at HR majors and I was like, okay, they deal with people. They have a variety of different things that they do within the HR field. This sounds like something that I want to do. So I remember doing the interview. I was really, really sick, but they said feedback that I got was, we love your personality. You're a people person. And we think you'd be a good fit for this internship. So I was awarded that internship and did my 2 summers, my junior, senior year. Graduated from Business Careers High School and was admitted to 13 universities, which was a huge thing for me because I didn't know what I was doing at that time. I give a lot of my praise and thanks to the staff that we had. There was a special gentleman in our career center that literally would sit there through my lunch times, after schools, before schools, whatever the case may be, if I had any questions through the application process, because I wasn't able to go home and talk to my parents with that. And that was a tough deal for me. And I didn't know where I wanted to go at the time. So I was kind of spreading myself out there to kind of see, okay, where can I go? What programs are specialized? I think as I got to my senior year, that kind of helped me figure out, okay, this is really what I want to do. Fast forward, I was a late acceptance to Texas A&M University in College Station. By that time, I wasn't accepted into my major, so I had to go general studies. So went there, ended up majoring in human resource development. As I got into college, CPS Energy actually asked me back and they said, hey, we'd like you to come be a part of our college intern program. So I actually spent 4 summers, every summer throughout my college career. I was doing fall and spring at A&M. I would come home in the summer and I would work full time. And I was doing that. I was gaining the experience that I needed little by little, looking through resumes, filling positions, and I was filling manager roles and intern roles, a lot of different things. So I was getting the experience that a full-time recruiter was getting every summer. And then I also did some projects that are associated to my class. So I ended up graduating from Texas A&M University with a degree, Bachelor's of Science in Human Resource Development. So after I graduated, I ended up working for a staffing agency. I had a really good mentor at CPS Energy. They told me, hey, you know what, you should go check the staffing agency world. It's just a different type of monster and beast. And you really get to learn to be a really good recruiter. So I did that for a little while and realized that it's great, taught me a lot, but I thought what I wanted to do, I was a people person. So I wanted to get back into the corporate field. So fast forward about a year after graduation, I ended up landing an opportunity with the Spurs as a talent acquisition coordinator. So there I was pretty much the sole recruiter for the business side of things. So I didn't recruit basketball players, guys. Trust me, I get that question all the time. Did not recruit any basketball players. I like to say that the year I started was the year that LaMarcus Aldridge came. That's the only credit that I will try to take. But so I worked for the Spurs and I loved it. It was a great opportunity. 2 years in, my wife, then girlfriend, or fiance, was pregnant with my son. And so my priorities changed for me. And I really just shifted into, okay, what do I need to do as a dad and as a father and as a husband to be able to provide for my family? And so was presented with a great opportunity to go to Rackspace. So I was a recruiter for Rackspace, transitioned from tech recruiting into sales recruiting. And I've met some amazing people along the way. Loved my time at Rackspace. It's an amazing company to work for. And then was presented with the opportunity to come to H.E.B. And realized there was a lot of people that were in my network that were there. And so I've been with H.E.B. now for a year, where I focus on campus recruiting. So I recruit a lot of our interns for our digital side of things. And so I started off as a digital recruiter. So I focused on just digital full-time roles. And now I recruit for our digital internships. So just trying to help bridge that gap early on to get that talent into our organization and hopefully, recruit that talent to be full-time. So I know it's a long-winded, but I have to give like the full breath because it definitely was a long journey. But I felt, and a lot of people were like, how did you figure out you wanted to do HR? And it was, I probably was one of the unique ones that said I knew I wanted to do HR in high school, and I just kept with it, and I've done it since. I love it.
Nice. No, you've worked for some wonderful organizations in San Antonio, some really pillars of our community.
It's definitely been a pleasure, and it's definitely been an honor just to be able to work for those type of companies and just to go through the different leadership styles and to kind of see just, the companies that kind of make up San Antonio, the communities that surround these companies that they give them high praise and they really stand behind them. So I've definitely been proud of the accomplishments that I have thus far and excited that I'm here at H.E.B.
So I want to go back to your internship experience because you pretty much, when you were talking about it, you got really excited because it allowed you to really explore HR a little bit more. What advice would you have for students who are, even thinking about intern, how to really make the most of it? Because also with internships, sometimes there's cases where, yes, it absolutely solidifies that you want to go in that direction, but also sometimes there's cases you're like, wait, this is different than I thought. So what are some of your words of wisdom?
Do your research first and foremost, and then connect with a mentor. Find somebody that you feel like you can connect with and start asking questions. My first mentor that I had there, I remember I was given a page and it was like a one sheet of everything HR. It was kind of like you could do benefits, you could do compensation, you could do generalist, you could do recruiting, you could do training development. So I was like, okay, which one do I want to do first? And so I started off like generalist and I realized, okay, I really like this. Like I'm a people person, but I didn't really care for this. And the reason I got to recruiting was I was hearing the recruiters kind of sat next to them. And one of them later ended up being my boss and my mentor. And I was like, I really enjoy what they're doing. Like not to say that HR generalists weren't busy at the time, but I just felt like recruiters were always on the phone, high energy, and we're constantly connecting with people and hiring leaders. And I was like, I want to do what they do. Like, how can I get there next summer? So the next summer they actually put me there. And I always tell folks, when you go to an internship, best advice I can give is be a sponge. Like just soak up as much as you can. Ask questions, be curious, ask to go to meetings, ask to kind of, sit down and listen to, things that they're doing, because that literally helped me. And I still connected with a lot of people that I got to sit with. And I was a very curious, kid growing up. remember my high school teacher telling me you can never ask too many questions. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hold you to that. And I literally, like, that's been my motto to myself. I can never ask too many questions. But that's what really helped me is just asking those questions and really kind of putting myself out there and saying, like, hey, can I try to do that? Or, hey, can I give it a try? Or, hey, well, how did you break into the field? I still to this day will talk to recruiters and kind of ask, how did they break into the field? What are you doing? What do you like about recruiting? An internship is so vital, and I get it because it's hard. If you're a full-time student and you may have stuff on the side as a full-time parent, husband, wife, whatever the case may be, it's difficult. But I can't tell you how valuable the experience that you will get from an internship. There's a lot of internships out there, and you just have to find what's going to be the right one for you. Where do you feel like you can make an impact, whether it be a big company, a small company, because small companies are really pushing a lot of internship opportunities. You have a lot more to play with those small companies. But I'd say if you can hold on to an internship opportunity, that gives you a solid foundation. Then when you get back to your coursework, you're like, light bulb, this is why I love what I do. And you start finding that passion again.
Yeah, it connects the dots so well. Like it makes class make so much more sense when you get to see it out in industry. And I mean, just so you all know, internships, I think sometimes students will talk themselves out of it. They're like, oh, I'm not ready for it. Internships a test run. They're not expecting you to be a subject matter expert. They want you to go in and ask questions and kind of be that sponge. So thank you for that. You also mentioned mentorship, which has also been a common trend that we've been seeing a lot with our panelists. How did you even approach like getting a mentor? Because that's also a conversation we've had with students. Like, I don't even know where to start. What questions do I ask? How do I actually evaluate that this is a good mentor for me?
Yeah, so we were kind of paired with a mentor, but then there was also other folks in my department. And so for me, as funny as it sounds, I was always kind of walking the desk like, hey, how's it going? How are you doing today? Like just kind of carrying conversation. And then it's like, hey, do you mind if I set up a couple minutes, like just to kind of learn a little bit more about yourself and your background? And there I would kind of come with questions already pre-made, like, how did you get into your field? What did you major in? What are you doing now that you probably wish you would have done, early on in your career, just to kind of figure out, any advice that I can get. And I had a wide range of different people that I worked with, from a corporate side, from an agency side, and a lot of them just gave me so much great advice. When I was at Business Careers, they actually paired me with an accounting mentor, and I didn't want to change it my 4 years. And I was like, hey, I love the individual because he cared about me. And even though I told him, hey, I want to go to HR, he was still kind of pushing me to kind of say, okay, like figure out what my passion is. And I thought that was still amazing, because people, once you kind of find those mentors, they really want to help you. It's definitely, the payoff is there. I mean, they really want to help you and kind of give you an advice. But you have to seek one out. I feel like it's so vital to seek one out. And I still keep in touch with a lot of my mentors today, just to kind of check on them and kind of see, how they're doing too, because a lot of them, when they met me, I was in high school or I was in college, and, now have a son, I'm married, bought my first house, like, it's a lot different. And so sometimes it's also just good to kind of keep in touch with them on a personal level.
Yeah, that ongoing relationship, because just again, you evolving as a professional is so important. FYI, in the chat, I'm actually going to put in a program. So if you do have an interest in, maybe exploring mentorship in human resources, SHRM, which is Society of Human Resource Management, is actually launching a digital November 17th from 6 to 7:30. So if you do have an interest in exploring HR a little bit more, please take advantage of that. It's going to be a really diverse pool of HR professionals. And this is also, again, something that is free for anybody to attend. So check it out if you are interested. Now, something I want to talk about, it's a cool opportunity being a virtual.
They have a lot of great professionals that are really looking to connect with students. I was a part of that when I was in college. I actually took part in the San Antonio chapters. The SHRM San Antonio chapter, and there's a lot of great, amazing individuals that you can meet there. So I'd say if you're looking to break into the HR field, that's definitely a place that you want to connect.
Absolutely. All right, so I want to go into your current role now. Again, so talking about skills, what are some of the key skills that you need to have to be successful, and what are ways that you've kind of kept on developing them throughout the time you've been doing this?
I think a big one is relationship building, because you're going through each position that you're given. I'm given a requisition, what we call it, or a position that we have to recruit for. That's either a new headcount or a position that somebody left. And so you have to kind of meet that manager and understand their world. And so one recruiter may say, hey, I'll just look at the job description. I'm just going to recruit from there based on what you told me. But I think it's like, for me, it's taking a deeper dive and kind of a deeper dive into things and understanding, you know, what does their world look like? You know, and they'll break it down. Like, I've had so many managers that I'm like, hey, I'm not the most technical person. I'll just let you know that. And they're like, that's okay. We'll break it down for you and help you understand. And I'm like, okay, that's helpful. So I think it's just relationship building is such a big one. And I know it sounds so cliche, like, you know, that's everybody says that. But for me, like, I feel like that's a difference maker, because it's a partnership that you're doing. You're not an order taker, you're a relationship builder, and you're trying to build that partnership. So where you have to gain their trust, and you have to make sure that you're understanding, you know, what they're really looking for. And sometimes there's just key things that you need to like circle in on. Another thing is just sourcing. And that's kind of like what I would say, if nobody knows what sourcing is kind of like a professional stalker, I guess you could say, because you're really looking for folks in the field. So, you know, manager may come and say, hey, I really want an application security engineer with a couple of years of experience. I need them to be located in San Antonio or Austin. Go. And I have to utilize the resources that I have, whether it be LinkedIn or any other tools that we're using. And that's not easy to do. You know, and then you really have to kind of hone in. Again, listening is key. Like, detail orientation is key. So those are like the big ones that I would say point out. Relationship building was just, for me, was so big, because I feel like that's what makes me unique in my sense and my approach.
So networking is going to be a thing, right? Having to connect with others. How do you again, we also have done some focus groups with some students. We're like, well, I'm kind of nervous about going out there and putting my name out there and sparking up conversation, especially in this virtual environment. It's so new, right? So unmuting and turning on the cam. How would you kind of, maybe words of advice, how to navigate this now for them?
I feel like it's a little bit easier because it's not as nerve-wracking where you have to kind of sit in a room with somebody, where, I mean, you kind of have to break the ice. And a lot of it is just kind of carrying typical conversation. So, I mean, I just joined a new team here at H.E.B in August. And so for me, like, I didn't know them really, any one of them somewhat, but a lot of it was just, hey, like, you know, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, I literally sat down with each employee on my team, and just kind of getting to know them on a personal level and saying, like, hey, what do you enjoy in your role? What are some struggles that you've had? And then all that becomes natural. I think after a while, you start to get comfortable with those individuals, and it just makes it an easier atmosphere to communicate. And it kind of breaks down that barrier. But I would say, like, turn your camera on, guys. Like, if you're on Zoom, turn your camera on, let people see. You know, it's okay if you have a crazy background. It's okay if you know, don't have it fixed up. Like, just talk. Like, I think that's the biggest thing, because it's a different atmosphere that we're in now. It's a different time. You know, we're not able to be in person. It's unfortunate, but I feel like that's the best thing that we can do to kind of keep that communication going.
Awesome. All right. So I want to hear your favorite win. What's been your favorite professional project throughout your career so far?
Favorite professional win. Okay. So I would probably say back when I was in college, I was at A&M, and I was interning with CPS Energy. My degree is in training development, organizational development, and career development. So it's all into one. So I had to create a training program that I would have to push out to the company. And so when you think about that, you think of a big company like CPS Energy, like, you're not really going to do that. There's no way you're going to do that. And that was part of our project. Like, we had to pitch it to a company or an organization. So luckily for me, I was in CPS Energy, and I was looking through our training development, and I was like, we don't really have anything for managers, like, to train them. Like, when I was actually helping managers recruit, we didn't have anything to train them, like, to make sure that they were interviewing properly, make sure that they were doing the interview do's and don'ts. Because yes, while it's a two-sided table, you know, we're interviewing candidates, but they're also interviewing us. And right now, especially the world we live in, it's a very perception of, if you mess up, if the hiring manager messes up with anything or says something wrong, you may not, you know, they may turn down your offer. And so I ended up building out a interview training for hiring managers, and I built it out. I got feedback from a lot of folks. I got feedback from my leaders, my hiring managers, my teammates, and I presented it at the end of the summer. It was me and actually another intern that was working on it, and we pitched it for the summer. When I come back the next summer, they ended up loving the idea and rolled it out company-wide and made it mandatory for hiring managers to utilize going forward. So if they were going to interview, they had to take this training in order to start that process. And we actually did it instructor-led, and we did a computer-based training. So if managers said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm too busy, well, it's okay. We got a computer-based training. You can still take it. So we came up with the script. We wrote the script. We wrote the training. We wrote it, the dialogue and everything. And I think it still lives there to this day. I hope it does. I've heard it does. But that was something that I was proud because it was a win-win. I got to submit it for my project. I got to help the company. And then I got to actually submit it for my college course. And it was amazing to kind of see that my work actually paid off.
That's awesome. That's a great example how that classroom experience, it can go places that you don't think of.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah. Now let's go about challenge, because I think also it's one of those things where people think, oh, every day is gonna be fantastic. We know that challenges come about, right? So from a professional side is, how do you get past that? So what has been a challenge that you've had to face, your greatest learning moment so far in your career, and how did you conquer that?
So I think for me, was going from the sports industry to the tech industry. That's two like different parallels, I feel like. So I was excited to go to the tech industry because it's a popular thing right now. It's tech, 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 tech. All you're hearing. And so when I went to Rackspace, I was telling my leader at the time, I was like, I'm definitely a little bit afraid. I'm not gonna lie, because tech's, it's not easy to learn. You have to kind of speak that language, I feel like. And so when I went in, I just had to take a different approach than when I was at the Spurs. When I was at the Spurs, I knew all my hiring managers. I was walking around, check on them, see how they were doing. Rackspace was so big, I couldn't do that. And so what I really made it a point to do with my leaders is I would actually go and sit like with their teams and kind of see like, what are they talking about? What are they doing? To kind of understand their world. And I eventually, had to do like, I was doing sales recruiting a lot of their sales folks. So I moved away from the technical side, went to the sales, technical sales. And so that's a different monster in itself, because it's not like you're just picking up a phone and calling. There's a little bit more to it. And so I had to understand, what do they need to be, what's the lingo that they need to be talking? Because when I get onto the phone with a candidate, and if I don't sound like I know what I'm doing, they're not going to want to talk to me. So I had to kind of understand their world and kind of sit down. And I was even invited to their team meetings, that kind of opened up the door to say, hey, we want you to come to our team meetings and, present and give us any questions that you have. And I built a really good relationship with the director, but that challenge coming in was just tech is ever changing. So like, how do you kind of stay on the forefront of it? So for me, and the best advice that I'd give is read like every single day. Like if you talk to my wife, if you talk to anybody else that knows me, they'll say like, where do you kind of get all this information from? Because I'm constantly on Twitter. I'm constantly reading Twitter. I'm constantly reading news articles. Like ever since I've been in probably middle school, I read the paper. Like I was reading the sports page. I was reading just the info page, like just because I was such a curious person. So for me, like with tech, and I'm still learning to this day, like it's ever changing. So you kind of have to be on the forefront of it, and always like, there's never a place where you can kind of get to an easy spot where you're like, I know it all. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So just keep up to date, do your research, take an interest. Like if you're really interested in that, ask those questions too.
That lifelong learning, which again, I'm so glad you mentioned, because I think sometimes like, oh, well, it stops after I get my degree, right? I'm good. But having to really kind of listen to your industry and upskill, because again, long-term, what do you want to do with your career?
Yeah. And they're looking to me for that industry advice. So I need to be able to tell them, hey, here's what the market looks like based on what I'm seeing. Here are the trends that I'm seeing. So that's important, and they lean on me as a subject matter expert. So you have to, I would say they told me that in my college class, my training development. If you're not a lifelong learner, there's something wrong with you, unfortunately. You have to be a lifelong learner in your career, like no matter what you do, because everything's ever changing.
Nice. So we want to talk about the elephant in the room, also COVID, right? So COVID has happened. It really has forced us to kind of rethink business as usual. I mean, right now we are in a virtual environment, which is also offered a really cool opportunity, again, to kind of offer some diversity in conversations. But I'm curious, what have you done individually to adjust to this new world of work? And also, what has your team done to adjust?
But I'll admit it, is I wake up and get ready for my day like I would if I'm going to the office. Wake up, shower, make my coffee, get dressed. Literally will wear my polo, whatever. Like I feel like I'm gonna, of course, wear to work and just treat it like a normal work day. And it's funny because I have my door closed. I have a 2-year-old, and so if I don't hang my door closed, he's running in and out. So he'll be caught on meetings from time to time. If I don't lock my door too, he literally will come in. But that's just little small things that I've done. But it's I think it's become like natural, for a lot of our organizations. You know, to have your kids running in, have your kids banging on your door, having your kids needing help with, you know, homework, whatever the case may be. So I just treat my day like a regular day, as if I was going to the office. And I tell my wife, if I go down, it's because I'm taking a break. Like, I love you, say hi to you, talk to you, but I treat it like a regular work day instead of, you know, I think a lot of the misconception that, you know, my generation or generations behind me will have is, I get to work from home, I get to watch TV, I get to play video games and do everything else. And it's kind of like, you really don't, like, because you're so busy, you have so much on your plate. So it's nice because, yeah, you can get some stuff done around the house. Hey, if I need to do a quick little laundry, I don't have to wait to get to work to get home, but wait till I get home from work. Those small things, but I think I just treat it like a regular work day. And then as far as like my team, it's just daily communication. I think we've actually put more meetings on our calendar to meet together to understand, hey, you know, what are some wins? What are some struggles? You know, what are some barriers that are getting in the way? And H.E.B has been really great about, you know, making sure if I have the technology that I need, you know, to be successful. So if I need, you know, a monitor or whatever the case may be, they'll help me out with that. Because people will make fun of my setup. So if I'm looking all over the place, it's because I have 3 screens set up. And I always tell candidates when I'm interviewing, I'm always looking. I'll tell them I have you right here, I have my notes right here, and I have your resume right here. So I'm not paying attention. I'm not paying attention to you. It's just I'm multitasking. So I promise I'm listening to you. But it's just those small things. I treat it like my workspace now. I treat it like as if I'm at actual workplace.
Yeah, having those like separation, right? Because I mean, it can be really daunting. I will say, if you try to merge everything at once, like what's going on? Now, I'm curious. So, especially for our students that graduate in May and the ones that are coming up for our December grads, what are some words of wisdom you have for them to make sure they're preparing for that life after, you know, graduation, especially in the job market right now? How do they handle this virtual setting?
You know, I know I talked to an individual a while back, and he was like, I'm not getting my resume looked at. I'm not getting, an interview. What do I do? And I said, well, what are you doing first? And he's like, well, I'm applying. I said, that's it? Like, kind of have to go a little bit more. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He said, should I show up to the workplace? I said, no, because nobody's there. I got first. But what I told him is, like, utilize your network. Like, LinkedIn is probably the most powerful tool that you can utilize right now. And of course, I mean, we're on it, so we're constantly seeing the posts that we're posting. One thing that I always tell students, if I'm meeting with them, if I'm trying to give them any advice, is set up your LinkedIn profile and make sure that you're utilizing it to its full potential. Look at your school's alumni pages and look at people that have majored in the same major that you have and shoot them a message. So I'll admit, I had a midlife crisis after I graduated, thinking, like, is recruiting right for me? Am I doing the right thing? I thought I wanted to be in y'all's field as a career counselor, and because that's what I'm passionate about. But I knew that there was more to it. And what I ended up doing was I ended up looking all the career counselors up from UTSA, from UIW, from OLU, and I messaged all of them saying, hey, I'm looking to potentially get into this field. You mind if I have a few minutes of your time, like, just to understand, how did you break into the field? What did you do? What advice would you give for somebody that's considering this straight out of school? And I was surprised. I probably had a 90% like rate where people were responding back to me that were wanting to set up a phone call or at least talk to me or message me back. And it was so helpful. And I realized, okay, this may not be for me right now, but this may for me be something that I want to consider down the road after, because I want to build my track record to say, hey, here's what I've done. Here's why you should trust me. But that was something that I didn't know how it was going to go. And it's a lot of people are getting LinkedIn messages, especially from companies, especially leaders. But I think if you make your message so unique, people will take the time to answer back to you. I try my best to answer back to all my LinkedIn messages from candidates, whether it's like, hey, you know, I applied, what is your advice? Like, I'll do my best to answer every single candidate. I can't get to everybody, but I do my best to get back to them in a timely manner. And I think that's something that I would strive is, if we're right now in a digital space right now, because we can't be in the office, that's okay. Now utilize what you can at your fingertips. And LinkedIn is such a powerful tool. I've been hooked on LinkedIn since I've been in college. And I was looking back, I actually made a LinkedIn video. Like, that was part of one of my class projects, was I had to make a video training somebody. So I did a video on how to create and then utilize your LinkedIn profile, because there's a lot to it and it's evolved. Like, it's nuts to see how far it's come. There's so many things that you can do with it to really push yourself and put yourself out there.
You were making all the career services professionals' heart just like grow so many ways. I'm sure Yasir is like smiling completely in his office right now, like, yes. Because especially I think in LinkedIn right now, it's such a safe space right now. Because to be honest, I see this a lot where someone just recently got let go. They will post that on their LinkedIn, and there's a community that's coming right to them right now. Like, hey, we will share your information. They're liking the post, so it's seen by other people. So it is a really cool opportunity. So take full advantage of it. Please know that's actually a service we provide with the May Center. If you ever need help, drafting a LinkedIn, like, what do I do with this? Ask. We have a group on there too. So, feel free to touch base. But you got Jeremy.
That I'll also add to that. And I know I don't mean to sound cheesy in any way, but I will say, like, as a student and even as a former student, utilize your career services team. Like, they are there for you. And I think when I went to A&M, as part of one of my projects, I actually had to go get my resume revised. And for me, A&M, I'm not to say bad about anybody, I got different advice when I first went in. It was kind of like, oh, the formatting here. And for me, I was like, okay, this wasn't beneficial to me. I need to get more. And so I actually sat in there. I was doing some schoolwork, and I overheard a gentleman that he specifically helped former students, but he was actually helping current students that day. And he grilled the heck out of me saying, what is your resume? What is the purpose of your resume? Like, what are you doing with it? Why did you put this bullet here? Why did you state this? Like, what is the point you're trying to get across? And so I actually set up an appointment with him, and I was ready for him whenever I met with him because I knew he was going to grill me. And he wrote on my resume, finest resume that I've seen, or one of the best resumes I've seen the last 10 years. And I still message him to this day saying thank you, because that really put me to the test. But if it wasn't for the Career Center, I probably wouldn't have had my resume revised. So I would say, if you don't get the best advice from somebody, that's okay. Talk to other folks, because other folks have different points of view. But that's what they're there for. You have such a variety of folks that are going to give you different views. Utilize that's a free resource, because when you get out, yeah, you can have your friends and family do it, but it's just a little bit different when you have professionals that do this for a living. So utilize these folks. It's a free service. Go to them. Ask them for resume advice, ask them for interview tips, ask them to help with LinkedIn. Those are things that are super, super helpful for you right now.
Man, your check's in the mail, Jeremy. Your check's in the mail.
No, I'm dead serious. I feel like I emailed that individual. I actually had a picture. I put it on my I had it on my time hop, and I sent him a picture to this individual. I said, you probably don't remember me. I said, but I met with you a couple of years ago. I took this picture. I'll never forget it, because it definitely helped me. And it gave me the confidence booster that I needed, to kind of know that when I set my resume out, it was going to get looked at, and it has. It's proven. So I definitely will say I'm true testament to that.
Any advice you would have on the virtual interview experience? I know H.E.B has really kind of led the charge with some virtual screenings. Any advice on how to handle that right now?
Yeah, a lot of people will ask this question and look at me kind of funny when I say it, but the best advice that I would say is be yourself. There's no need to over prepare for it. We just want to understand who you are and what you're passionate about. And there'll be a couple of technical questions in there, but it's a lot of behavioral based. So, a lot of what you'll see, not just from H.E.B, from other companies, is behavioral based questions. So it's, tell me about a time that you had to deal with a difficult customer. Tell me about a time that you had to deal with a project with little direction. They just want to see, what would you typically do, or what have you done in the past? The whole sense behind that is past behavior predicts future behavior. So come with examples, but be yourself. Be yourself. There's some people that I've seen that just will try to focus too much into it. They waste a little bit of time, and then the interview gets cut off, and it's unfortunate. But I would tell people, just be yourself. Just relax. I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just seeing myself. So it's super, super awkward. And I totally get that to an extent. This is the opportunity where you're actually getting in front of the hiring manager or the recruiter, actually. And we look at every single video. We literally go through every question and read it or hear it, and making sure that we're kind of getting, what are you passionate about? What are you really wanting to do? And so I'd say just be yourself and relax, and take advantage of it, and don't sit on it, and check your junk or spam mail, because it goes to junk or spam. And a lot of people will say, well, I never got an interview, and we'll email them a decline, and they'll say, well, you never completed it, and it got lost in junk or spam. So junk or spam right now is unfortunately horrible. So please check it periodically, because you may have a potential opportunity that you may not know about.
Absolutely. Because again, sometimes people think, well, I'm going to get a call first, right? Not always the case. Again, you need to look at that email, because especially with H.E.B and Rackspace also, those initial interviews are an invite for a pre-recorded experience. So it is a different kind of setup, we do have big interview FYI in case anyone's kind of wanting to see what a test environment may look like, where you're like, okay, I'm recording on my own. How do I do this? Use it, because it is a huge tool. Now, if we can go back in time, right? So right when you're starting that freshman year, again, especially being a first generation, I'm sure just the college experience, like the language and what to expect every year. What are some words of advice you would have for undergrad you?
My best advice, and I still live by this to this day, is just never settle for less than your best. Like, keep putting the best foot forward. I always even go back to high school, and this is what I attest to me getting accepted to A&M. I was outside the top 10% my junior year of high school, and my senior year I was like, okay, I know it's late. I'm just going to try to get all A's for this semester, this year, and it paid off. Like, because people slacked off, I ended up going in, and I ended up getting accepted because of that, because I moved into the top 10% and I got automatically admitted. But I still live to that to this day. For me, it was such a struggle when I went to college, because I didn't know how to study. Like, it's such, I know people will relate to that, because when you go to high school, it's totally different. When you go to college, you actually have to read the book, unfortunately. Like, you buy that book and you have to read it, and you really have to understand it and make sure that you're reading it before class. There was such simple things that I just didn't realize early on in my freshman year that I'd look back and I'm like, man, it was such easy things, but I took it for granted. And I really wish I would have pushed myself, and pushed myself a little bit more. And it was hard for me being away from my parents, because, I would call them and try to get in touch with them. They were busy with work or something, whatever the case may be. So a lot of the times it was just having to be self-motivated and really push myself, and surround yourself with a good network of friends that, whether you create study groups or, quiz each other on. Like, I had a lot of friends that we just were always clicking together, and it wasn't like we were, messing around. It was more of like we were really focused and pushing ourselves. I still remember like crazy study sessions where we were just like doing late night study sessions, like crazy, just trying to make sure that we comprehend, like with the comprehensive finals, like I don't miss those, but we were really pushing each other. And I think that's what helped me, because if I tried to study on my own, it was definitely hard. And I want somebody to kind of quiz me on things and make sure that I knew what I was comprehending the information. But don't settle for less than your best. Kind of push yourself and utilize the resources that you have on campus, because there's a lot that can really help you. And talk to your professors. They are probably the most helpful people. I really had a relationship with every single one of my professors. I hated to be that person, but I really wanted to make sure that, I got in front of them. They know who I was, and they knew when I was struggling or if I had questions about something. They remembered me. And so that was just a good relationship that I built. And I'm glad that I did, because, when you go to school, some folks will be like, hey, I won't go to class and I'll just collect the notes or whatnot. It's not the same. I feel like you have to be in class. You have to be asking those questions if you're not understanding it. There's only so much that you can comprehend. And if you're a first generation college student, it's definitely a struggle.
What was it like then, again, as a first gen college student, going into the world of work, like the first gen professional? Was there a lot of learning curve there for you at all?
I think I was fortunate enough to kind of get that experience early on, like when I went to high school, because they really prepared me back then. And I was very fortunate enough, because I don't know how I would have done it then. I relate that back to a story. My sophomore year of high school, I told you I read the newspaper, and so I was reading the sports section, and I saw that the San Antonio Missions were going to have a job fair. So what I did without my mom knowing is I had my resume ready, or ironed my clothes, and I said, hey, this weekend they're going to have a job fair. I need you to take me. And she's like, you don't have to work. Like, I want you to focus on high school. I said, Mom, I want to work. I want to make my own money. Like, I was at the legal age where you could potentially work or need parent permission. So I was like, I really want to go. I don't care if in the food stands, whatever the case may be. And I went not knowing what I was getting myself into. And they were like, we have a job for you. I was like, really? Awesome. Like, I guess I was working in the food court, and they're like, we actually want you to work in the clubhouse. So I was a bat boy for them, and I worked on their grounds crew and their field. So I did, whenever they're preparing the field before and after the game, like I did that. That was my first job in high school. And it was amazing. But for me, that was my confidence booster. Like, I hadn't interviewed before. Nobody pushed me to do it. My resume probably wasn't the best. But I think that, again, when I talked about when you interview being you, I think that's what they said. Like, you have a great personality, like, to do a lot of these things like we want you to do, and here's what we did. And that manager was like super cool with me, and he knew my passion. I had conversations with him, like another mentor that you connect with. And when I told him, hey, I'm I did one season there. I was doing my second season. I said, I got an internship opportunity. I really want to take it. He's like, dude, you need to take this. Like, quit today and go do that internship opportunity. But again, it's just doing those things, and sometimes it's trial by error too. Like you take interview opportunities. I always will say that in college, I got a lot of practice because I would apply to a couple places on campus on purpose, just so I can get interview experience, and then I would probably either decline it or get declined. But it was like experience for me because I was like, okay, what type of questions are they asking? Like, what does it seem like? So I probably was bad in that sense, but I think that it helped me also as well when I kind of got to that when I graduated to that professional level to know what to expect.
So just trying it out, right? You might as well pave the way, go for it.
Put some fillers out there, yeah, and just try and explore. I mean, that's the best thing I could say.
Nice. Okay, so again, students, if you have any questions for Jeremy, feel free to enter them in the chat. Yes, do you have anything from Facebook?
Oh, we don't have any questions.
Okay. So I have a question about H.E.B specific. So what is your favorite part about working for H.E.B? And if students want to explore options, what's the best way they can do so?
So for me, H.E.B, of course, that's all I knew because I was born in San Antonio. So it's like, that's the only place my parents and I shopped, especially in College Station. But I didn't really understand like everything behind the grocery side. Like a lot of people don't realize like how much we have on the back end of like digital and corporate. Like we still operate as a business. We're more than just a store. And a tagline that we have is we're in the people business. We just happen to sell groceries. And that line itself, like for me, really hit home because they really care about the people, whether it be our customers, whether it be about the community, whether it be about its employees. Like they really do care about the individual. They want to be able to understand our customer, make it unique in the sense of, hey, we want to make sure you have a great shopping experience, whether it be in store or now curbside or home delivery or through Favor. We want to make sure as an employee, you have great benefits, you have a good work-life balance, that we, care about your career path and career journey and what that looks like. And I'm missing one that I said, community, like how much we do in the community, especially, in times of need, or even not in times of need. I know Charles, Mr. Budd is really passionate about education. And as well as, when we have the hurricane travesties, unfortunately, H.E.B is always the first to kind of step in and be the first one to say, how can we help? What can we do? And kind of give back to the community. And that's been huge for me is, the company that really stands behind it. And, we have our core values, but I don't think I've been at a company where it really, really resonates. Like we really mean it. Like we're passionate about it. And that's what I love. We're seriously in the people business. We just happen to sell groceries. And that was the second part to your question that I missed, so I apologize. Got
No
too
problem.
passionate about that.
How can students learn more about H.E.B?
Definitely. So one, visit our career page. It's careers.heb.com. We, as a student, we definitely do some on-campus opportunities. We try our best to get on every campus that we can, especially all local campuses. So if you see us at an event, definitely stop by, talk with one of our recruiters, get their name. I'm a part of, we're a team of like 5 or 6 right now on the campus team. So you'll see myself and a couple others that, you'll constantly probably see our face. But just look at our YouTube videos, look at our newsroom, kind of look at us in the news, like what's kind of going on. Cause I feel like we're paving the way for COVID and how we kind of got prepared for that and make sure that we're doing the right thing for the customer. Right now there's a whole customer limit thing, but read about what we're doing in the news and just kind of stay up to date, I think, and be curious, ask questions. Like, again, utilize your alumni section and look to see if there's any alumni that graduated with a degree from H.E.B. I'm more than sure that there will be, and you can kind of see what they majored in, what they're doing, what year they graduated, and that's an easy connection to say, hey, fellow Jaguar, I want to connect with you. Talk to them, ask them questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do have a great alumni base with H.E.B, so totally take advantage. They can offer some great insight to what their journey looked like. We have some on the retail side, but also on more the corporate side of operations. So please connect. Jeremy, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate just you being so frank about your journey and offer some really great pillars of advice. So I'm going to do
super passionate about this.
All right, so students, thank you again also for attending today. So you have 72 hours to track your attendance on JagSync. I'm going to go ahead and put the URL in the chat, but also you can just scan the QR and that will take you to the sign-in page. Now, next week, we will be also featuring another first-gen college graduate, which we're really excited because we wanted to make sure we can connect y'all with some really dynamic professionals here in the San Antonio market. So we are welcoming Gladys Hernandez, who's actually the Executive Director of Leadership SAISD. Gladys comes from not only an actual classroom experience background, but also she's worked in nonprofit and now she's getting to work in the ISD in a very different capacity. So really excited. She's phenomenal. So it should be a wonderful conversation. And then don't forget, connect with the Mace Center. We are still here for you, even in this virtual environment. We are seeing students in pretty much like Zoom breakouts. We also have virtual drop-ins, not only from our 12 to 2 window, but also we have a selected few days of some evening ones. So touch base. Also keep an eye on our social media. We have some great recruitment events coming on. Handshake has really been active right now, where a lot of really dynamic employers have been posting some info sessions. Take advantage of them because it also allows you to have a huge range of outreach. Go and ask questions, connect. Also, again, if you need help with LinkedIn, we got you. And then make sure to check out our YouTube channel, which is also, again, where we're posting all these conversations on. So thank you again, everyone, for a great conversation today. Jeremy, again, thank you again for just being a part of this. And, again, you are now an honorary Jaguar. Just going to put that out there. You're a part of our family here, okay?
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, have a great afternoon, everyone.